first. All right, so Cedric asked me to teach tunes with connection to diversity, which was awesome. It made me really think, so I showed up here with a plan. Which is a really relaxing way to do this music camp thing. I took a look back through the history of the U.S., and we'll be presenting a selection from each from a different century. So we're going to zoom back to the early 1800s. Thomas Jefferson used a campaign song that was published in 1801 and another version in 1804. It's a jig, which is in 6/8, and that was from a campaign song. The tune is called Jefferson and Liberty. You might have heard of Thomas Jefferson as one of the founding fathers, and the primary author of the Declaration of Independence, which is something that, as a country, is very important to all of us. So I'm going to read just one tiny chunk of it. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The man who wrote those words owned 600 slaves. And in his lifetime, he only freed 7 of them. Now, I read that he spoke out about slavery as a negative impact on society, on our country, but yet he did not do anything about it. So maybe we, in this present age, can do something when we see something that's wrong. So, okay, so this is called Jefferson and Liberty. Good thing I practiced the exam. Ready? I'm going to count to 4 and then we'll do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our next tune, we're going to move into the 1900s now. It's called Evening Prayer Blues, and it's by a musician named DeFord Bailey. He was the first harmonica player to play at the Grand Ole Opry, the most famous stage in Nashville. He's also the first African American to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. Yeah. He was brought up, I don't know if you know where we are, but he was brought up in a Methodist church playing gospel music on harmonica. Here we are today, playing harmonica gospel music on fiddles. So, DeFord Bailey recorded this tune, Evening Prayer Blues, in 1927, and it was supposed to represent an old-time brush arbor meeting or revival. Someone can tell me later what that means. I'd love to hear more about it, because I was not brought up in the Methodist church. Let's see. So DeFord Bailey is a really interesting character. He toured alongside Bill Monroe, who's a mandolin player, also known as the father of bluegrass. And in this era of 1930s, 1940s, 50s, band leaders wouldn't always credit the actual composers. He would just say, I wrote this tune. So, and in fact, there's a whole album called Kenny Baker Plays Bill Monroe, which is performed by Kenny Baker, all tunes that he wrote that Bill Monroe took credit for. Anyway, when DeFord Bailey was on tour with Bill gave him credit every night. I just think that's really cool. It took a lot to get the band leader to say your name. And it was rough touring in those days, often in the South. They bought a giant suitcase that they would stuff DeFord into so he could stay in the same hotel that the rest of the band is in. Yeah, so we're gonna play a version today. It's been widely interpreted. This is a pretty standard bluegrass tune, but as the folk process works, Bill Monroe had his own version that he played with Fort Bailey that would work with the band. And I learned it from a band leader named Daryl Anger, who's one of my heroes. And I thought his version is awesome, so we're gonna play that one. And we're gonna feature Gus. Using prayer meetings. we call here at Camp Full Gus. All right, we got one more quick one for you. Gonna bring us into our current century. And I don't know if you guys have heard of LGBTQ community, but this is one of the differences that is not always apparent when you look at people. You might look at me and think I'm a straight white male because I have a fiance and a cat. However, it's not so black and white. I do identify as pansexual. But this concert, I wanted to feature a fiddler that I met while I was learning at Berkeley. And his name is Armand Ehrman. He's a violin maker and fiddle player from Providence, Rhode Island, although of Filipino descent. And he's in a duo called the Fox Hunters. He's got a band called the Ivy Leaf. He's active in, the jamming Irish community in the New England area. And he happens to be gay. And he happens to be my friend. He happens to be a great musician and composer. So we're going to play two of his tunes. So gay marriage is now legal in all 50 states. There are forces trying to turn back the clock. I believe in equality personally, in every possible respect. So let's go back to that couple hundred years ago. We've come a long way, and we still have a long way to go to be truly living those words from the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. So, cheers to a future of change. And progress. And music. This is The Dirty Bark and Pleasures of the Bitten Peach. Which means being really gay in Chinese. Thank you.